What's up, guys? As always, I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay. Today, I want to do my video out here in the sun with the birds. I pay rent here, but apparently they live here. I'll put a picture up on the screen, but they actually made a nest out of our fire suppression system, and there's a baby bird in there, so I won't be here too long. I don't want to disrupt them. I felt bad about even cleaning this, because if you're familiar with birds, they leave a lot of droppings. So I had to clean it. It's also just good sanitation. This is our patio, but I don't want to take that home from them. But anyway, with no further ado, what is this video about? So a lot of booktubers do their weekly wrap-ups, what they're reading, what they're working on, how their life's been. And when I made this channel, I thought it was mostly going to be book reviews, which I love doing book reviews. And this is also going to be a book review later on. Stay tuned. I feel like much more so than wanting to hear people's opinions on a specific book, BookTube is more about really vibing with different creators' personalities and seeing what they like and getting inspiration for our own reading and just hearing each other's spots. A lot of the time we're watching, I'll watch Jake or John or Philip, all these people, and I've already read what they're reading. I just want to hear what Jake has to say about Water 7 arc of One Piece, I want to hear what Chance Dillon has to say about Memories of Ice. I won't be doing weekly updates, but this week and in the week prior, I touched on it a little bit in my BookTube and review video. See there, the birds are, that I've kind of been struggling with like my numbers on BookTube and staying productive. I was sick for a little bit. And I just want to touch up on what I'm reading, some cool special editions, so a little mini book haul that I've gotten and some books I'm excited to start. I will also be doing a review of Ships of Merior within this same video, and it actually is very important to how it ties into how this week has been for me. I've touched up on that I wrote a manuscript. I'm about to get the cover art for it. Cover artist gave me some early designs. It looks rad, guys. I cannot wait to share it with y'all. So I need to work on the edits of that book, but that has kind of stalled because, as I've said before, one of my favorite authors, possibly my favorite author, I don't want to give away who it is because we haven't discussed that yet, but I consider this person to be probably my favorite author of all time, contacted me about an audio project that I had been hard at work on, and I actually was sick last week. And, I had a lot of throat and nasal pain, and it was hard, and I get in the recording studio just trying to power through it, and not only was I causing myself more pain, I wasn't making any progress. The characters sounded way more nasally than they're supposed to. And I told this person about it, and let me just say, the author that I'm working for is one of the most gracious, most humble, and most kind individuals you will ever have the privilege of knowing. And they were completely understanding of everything. So that's been halted. So this past week, all I really had was this little beautiful book called Ships of Merior.
Like a reed plucked to sound by a squall wind, the musician added voice to his instrument, and at the center of the mayor's palace, in a blistering sudden flare of mage light, the spirit forms of Rioth and Paravians resolved to retread the old patterns. No mortal present failed to see them. Pale in form as spun gossamer, clothed in the glimmering coils of earth force that spindled into focus to frame them, unicorns wheeled in ethereal splendor through the spell-caught weave of the music. She bit her lip, pressed by a reasonless urge to throw a glass flask just for the need to hear it shatter. The alternative was to break inside, to turn to face whoever had raised her door latch and scattered the timid songbirds.
And man, so this is going to be the review segment. And then I'm going to talk about, my book haul and then what my plans are. So I'm not going to go into spoilers on it. This is just going to be how the book affected me. And please don't skip it if you can help it, if you have the time, because man, this book is phenomenal. Everything I said about Curse of the Mistwraith is even more so here. And if you've heard that this was split into Warhost to Bassmark and you're worried about it not feeling like a complete story, it very much ends in a way where it would be more satisfying to dive right into Warhost, but this does not feel like half a book. This feels like an amazing journey. Erathon Cephalin, Alera, Dakar, these characters are so real. And Jani's writing, she really is one of the greatest writers in the history of the English language. Not just in fantasy, not just in fiction. She belongs in the same conversation as Stephen Erikson, Robin Hobb, but also William Shakespeare, John Steinbeck, uh, Charles Dickens, James Joyce. She is much like James Joyce. Her books almost beg you to read them aloud. The cadence and the style and the lyrical style of the prose make you want to orate as you're reading. And more so than ever, my girlfriend would be like more so than any author, she will catch me just either mouthing the words or straight up reading out loud while she's, watching TikTok and, playing her video games next to me. And just because it begs to be spoken aloud. And this book transported me when I was feeling ill, when I was feeling defeated, that I wasn't getting enough done. My numbers on YouTube weren't enough. Ships of Merior really, really, really was able to transport me to a different world. And I'm so grateful to Janie Wirtz for putting the time and the years and in her life and her energy and her time into crafting something that is able to transport me so completely to another world that I haven't seen done outside of Erikson and Hobb. I know I say that all the time. I constantly compare her to those two authors when I actually think she's very different. When people make those comparisons, what they're really saying is her character work is as good as Hobb, which is what Hobb is known for, and her world building and her prose are akin to Erikson, which I think her prose might even be a little bit better than Erikson's. But, that's complete subjectivity. Some will prefer Erikson, some will prefer Wirtz. To me, they're the two best. So it's hard to compare them because their styles are very different, but they're both the best at what they do. Hobb, also really great prose. Also, Philip Chase, really great prose. But Janie, I can't really put anyone's prose above hers. For my own subjective taste, I think her prose are my favorite I've ever read. So yeah, after that, I'll be I've actually already dived into Warhost of Vastmark, and I'm very much enjoying it. I don't have the book with me, but I started on audio. I'm doing a read-along with Preacher from Preacher Reads and David from Four Corners of the Page. We're doing a Malazan, reread for me and David, and first-time read for Preacher. With the sickness, with the different projects I've been working on, I don't think I'll be able to fit that in to read physically, so I'm listening to it on audiobook. So I pushed the War Eternal books down the road. Really love those books. Can't wait to get back to them. Well, I pushed that down the road for a couple weeks so I could listen to Gardens, and I'm loving the audiobook. I know Stephen Erikson, I've heard he has some mixed opinions on the audiobooks. I think they're great. There's definitely some character voices that got a little mixed up, but with a series like Malazan, with how many characters there are, and the narrator would really have had to have 10 books of knowledge to do it justice, because there's so many nuances in that first book that build on to Carcanus, the crippled god, everywhere. It's Gardens of the Moon. I don't think people realize how much legwork that did in setting up the world of the entire Malazan series. After I finished Warhost of Vastmark, my number one priority has to be Bold Ascension by Von Roycroft. Let me tell you, not enough people are reading this series. Vaughn is a awesome human being. I really hope to get to this month. If I don't get to it this month, Vaughn, I want you to know, if you're watching this, it is not because this series is not exemplary. This is something I want to dive into constantly. But with this being one contained story, the audiobooks being something I need to make traction on, and I'm actually alpha reading for Chance Dillon's second Mercy book, which he needs feedback by June 1st. So this may be my main read of June. I'm hoping to get to it in May, though, because Vaughn is such a gracious person. He sent me these signed copies. He is, the most humble and intelligent and insightful person you could meet. He shared me personal anecdotes that helped me connect even more with the text, having that that basis for what he's gone through, and having that knowledge of his personal life has only served to enhance my enjoyment of this book, or of this series. This is the Thunder Nation trilogy, by the way, if anyone doesn't know. I really want to get to it this month. I'm not going to beat myself up if I can't get to it until June, because I don't think Vaughn would want that. He wants me to come to the story when I want to, and I really, really want to. It's just I've made some promises to people, like I'm doing this read along and I'm doing this alpha reading, and those are things I'm just as excited about as this. But it's you do kind of make these obligations on BookTube And no one in the booktube space is pressuring me. Like Chance Dillon is the nicest dude. I mean, if y'all would see the text this man sends me, he is the nicest guy you could ever talk to. And it's a joy to alpha read his book. I think he is such an awesome human being. If you're not subscribed to his channel, please subscribe and please read Mercy. It's so good. I'll put a review somewhere on the screen. But, it's not like he's pressuring me to do it. I want to do it. And, he needs that feedback by June 1st. So that's what's getting moved up. And the audiobook is, at the tip top. And then I want to touch up on, so I'll be alpha reading that. In June, I hope to get to this and to, I don't have it with me, Return to Edan. Because As Darkness Gathers is coming out very shortly. And I want to be a day one reader when Philip Chase releases that. But I am not doing, oh, there's a wasp out here. Yeah, move on. This ain't big enough. If there's a massive cut that's extremely jarring, it's because the wasp got me. Anyway, so the main reason I'll be reading this and Return to Edan and probably Fugitive Prince by Janie. That's it. And even Fugitive Prince, I don't think I'll get to it because I love the fantasy genre. I know I could never craft a story as beautiful as ones told by Janie Wirtz, and I know I could never craft something like Vaughn Roycroft or Philip Chase, but I really want to get the ball rolling on the edits of my novel. And I've been pushing it down the hill, thinking, oh, when I'm done with the audiobook, I'll start on that. And that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to spend an hour to 2 hours a day working on the audiobook and putting an hour of the 24-hour days, I owe an hour of myself to my own writing. I view myself more as a reader than a writer. I have nothing published, either self or trad, and I've never taken a writing class. I'm actually a nursing student. And by the way, just got into nursing school, pretty pumped about that. So I really want to get those edits knocked out before I start school in August. Well, I won't get it knocked out, obviously, but I want to get, a good chunk of it worked on, and I want to get it to where it's at the point where I can start sharing it with people and it doesn't feel like I'm in this constant state. Because right now I'm on the edits. Oh, the wasp is back. On the edits, I'm only at about chapter 2, and I know where the story's going, but so many of the character voices grew in the telling, and they demand to be rewritten. My main character, well, there's multiple characters, but the one who's kind of the main character is a ship captain. She's a 38-year-old woman that has experienced a ton of loss. First draft, especially in the earlier part, she comes across as really angsty. And I don't think a woman that has experienced that level of loss and has lived more life than myself would be conducting herself in that way. A lot of her actions are going to stay the same, but a lot of her internal monologue and the way she carries herself is going to vary quite a bit from the rough draft, because it already varies from chapter 1 to chapter 40, because I grew to understand her more in the writing. Anyway, that's why I won't be reading as much this next month. And then I'm going to show you what I hauled. Oh, before I show you what I hauled, I'm on volume 95 of One Piece. I'm in Wano. It's absolutely awesome. I love One Piece. One Piece is my favorite manga of all time. I was just talking to Sam from My Samwise about this, that I thought Berserk would be my favorite manga. And I love Berserk, but sometimes it's so gratuitous and it's so bleak, and some of the sexual violence in there especially is not something that is conducive for a fun and joyful reading experience. I'm not always into the edgy stuff anymore. Malazan, if it's edgy and dark, but it serves a purpose, that's one thing. And I don't think Berserk doesn't serve a purpose, but it's not my favorite. And One Piece is my favorite. I absolutely love One Piece. I think it's just a joy. It is an absolute gift to the anime and reading community that Oda created such a timeless and timely story. No notes. Amazing. And then one book I got that I'm really excited about. I actually, of all of BookTube, I haven't interacted much with the Mittens. I watch their channel. I don't comment a lot because there have been times where I commented and I felt like I came across as kind of awkward. I think that they're so much fun to watch. I think John has such a cool energy, and Jacob is like, his reactions to John are hilarious. But I really want to try to read Discovery, if not this coming month, the next month. Like I said, I want to prioritize my writing, but I don't see myself starting school in August not having read this. So it's going to fit in either June or July. So, if Janie Wertz or Von Roycroft's later books get pushed down the line a little bit, not Bold Ascension, I'm talking about Destiny's Doom, his third book, which everyone should go buy. Go buy the Thunder Nation trilogy. Trust me, it's so good. But Fugitive Prince by Janie get pushed down by like a couple weeks. Will probably be because of Discovery, because I feel like this book is really calling my name. And I don't know, something about starting book ones are so like it's just such a fun experience reading a book one. As much as coming back to a series you love is awesome. Okay, so future channel news. This video is all over the place, and it's exactly what I needed to make because I just feel like my creative juices have kind of been leaking out, trying to feed the YouTube analytics machine. But I want to do a read along of The Drowned Kingdom. I've contacted some other YouTubers, and they seem down, but it seems like something that's going to be kicked down the road quite a bit. I've never organized a read along before, and a lot of people are busy. I am also busy, and this probably won't start until the fall. But I think P.L. Stewart is much like Vaughn, is such a beacon to the community, and I can't wait to read this. From what I know, I think it is so incredibly up my alley. I'm going to try to link it down below if I can find it, and I'll put it somewhere on the screen here. But P.L. Stewart did a reading of the first few pages, and I thought the gravitas that he lent his story was so magnificent. And I think the video only had like 20 views when I saw it. It probably has more now, but I think that this series is really slept on, and I just don't think that these type of indie books get a ton of read-alongs, but I really want to go book by book with some of my friends and read this book. All right, so my book haul, I got Blackstone Hearts Special Edition. If you think this is rad, Michael R. Fletcher just launched the Kickstarter for She Dreams in Blood, which is even better than book one in my opinion, as far as like the quality of the narrative. And I think the special edition will be better too. He actually told me that he's like, just sit tight for book two, it's even better. But he included the original artwork from the Self Pub. You know, like there's Crane, where we find him. But some of the artwork he added, like there's an art piece of Henka in here. I'll put it somewhere on the screen because I'm not finding it right now. Absolutely gorgeous. And I look at that dragon. Look at this. It's so dope. Love that. I got a new China Mieville book. I have not read any China Mieville yet, but I do have all of his new Kronzabon books. And I did a review of The Book of Elsewhere by him and Keanu Reeves. Old video. I actually am very proud of that video, even though I have grown a lot as a booktuber since then. And if you want to go check it out, it's going to be a little cringe with the video quality, but I still stand by all the points I made in that review. And I may adjust the thumbnail before adding it to this now that I think about it. And then the two most exciting special editions I got, The Devils, everyone on Instagram. I actually haven't made an Instagram post yet as of the time of filming. Everyone and their mom made an Instagram post of this because it's just like next level amazing, right? It's so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful editions Broken Binding has ever made. It's not my favorite book I've gotten this year. That one actually is my Curse of the Mistray signed edition by Janie Wertz. Yeah, that book is probably never getting beaten as far as my favorite copy of a book I own. Also, Bold Ascension's up there for one of my favorite copies of a book I own because it was the first signed copy of a book I'd ever received from an author. And I will always be grateful to Von Roycroft. He did not have to do that. It's when I only had a few subscribers. And I know that that is a man that does not look at the numbers. He looks at the quality of the connections being built. And I think me and him, I consider us friends. I think he's a great guy. And then finally, we have the Grim Oak Press with slip sleeve of Servant of the Empire by the marvelous Janie Wertz, cover artist done by Janie Wertz. And another thing I want to say, since I'm spotlighting her beautiful art, she is actually like her writing is so heavily influenced by her experience in the art world. Her ability to tell a story that is accentuated by, oh yeah, this is just one, but this is an example of a black and white art piece that she did for this book. I think she did 5, but yeah, this one was very special to me. And I think I'm the 5th person. Yeah, I'm number 5 on Grim Oak Press. So I'll probably put a link down below if you want to go buy the Grim Oak Press. I know they're kind of pricey, so it's really like for the Janny super fans like myself. But yeah, I'll include a link down below if you want to get this Grim Oak Press edition. And then the third one is actually coming out soon. I already pre-ordered it. I don't have the first one, so if anyone watching this knows anyone with the first one that is willing to sell, let me know, because I would like a complete set. But even if I don't have a complete set, I still have two beautiful Janny books. But yeah, that's kind of been like my week and how I've been feeling, and I won't be doing this every week. That's not really the way I lay out my channel. But I've just been feeling very down, and this was the video style that would have been conducive for me just talking about things I'm excited about and sharing things with y'all. And yeah, peace.